pre-Stalingrad. So I can just do the largest file size. That means the longest battle.
I mean, the one I sent you, I'm pretty sure was not ranked.
Oh, okay.
I think I sent you a rank one. I don't know if you have it.
I've also been playing Stalingrad in ranked. It's I agree, it's a very one-dimensional ship in that like it does one thing. But the frustration for me is that the thing it does usually requires you to get in a position and then play that position, either forward or backward or whatever. But some teams just don't want to wait for you to do it.
Yeah, I had one game that stands out that was on Warrior's Path, I think. That's the one with the double cap, right?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No.
Sea of Fortune
Sea
the
of
stack.
Fortune, thank you. Yeah. I got out over on the west or the east flank, and their whole team went west and into the mid, and I had their broadside all game, and it was glorious. But that's pretty few and far between.
Wings fan, I found your Stalingrad replay.
I don't remember this one.
Stalingrad relies a lot on its AP to do damage. Like, compared to Moscow, its HE capabilities is quite bad. So if the enemy doesn't make as many mistakes, then Stalingrad is pretty much inferior, since you don't even have a Hydro.
Subject of that, I've been playing Moscow also in ranked, and I also found very good at it. Got obviously survivability. And yeah, the HE is, I find it can get a lot of consistent damage.
Do the legendary?
A star. Yeah, I do have it.
Yeah, it's really good once you have that.
I was one clan battle away from my legendary.
Yeah, we found in clan battles that Mosfa can go head to head with a Yami and win from full health. It's ridiculous.
So you guys, it sounds to me like you're not favoring the Stalingrad in ranked. Is that true?
Oh, I am. I'm still playing it. It's something new. It's
I'll
fun.
probably come back to it, but I had to give it a little bit of a break.
Well,
That's
don't
the only
have
one thing, but the one thing's fun.
I will say I didn't run into too many of them. I was almost always the only one on the team and none on the other team.
So for those of you guys who have been playing, it's time to spill the beans and the secrets. How do you defeat a Stalingrad in ranked?
Shoot it, not in the bow.
Torp it.
Get to its side.
Yeah.
Upload a virus and make the user's game crash.
You know, that doesn't really work as long as he was already pointing at you. He's still alive when he comes back.
It's a fast-acting virus.
It's a slow-dying ship.
lag switch.
Lag switch.
I definitely find it takes more damage from the front from battleships than Mosfa does.
So the typical bow-in thing that I think we're about to see Wingsfan do here, not as effective as Mosfa.
It depends on the range and how good an aim they are, but if they're within 10 kilometers, a battleship's gonna give you problems in the front.
The problem is just generally where you bow in. Moskva doesn't mind bowing in the middle of the fleet since its HE is quite reliable, but Stalingrad wants to get to the side so it can abuse this AP. And that's a problem because Stalingrad's detection is way too high.
Yeah, I agree. This is why I'm saying, like, the only thing... Hey, speaking of Stalingrad, there's one. Like, you pretty much, your only play is to get to the outside edge and point in. That gives you the best chance of getting a flanking shot, and it keeps your bow towards most of the map. But if your team, like, runs in before you can get out there, then that's no good.
How low can you get the detection range in the Stalingrad with both
13.9.
Yeah, it's like 13.9.
Which is even worse than Moscow.
It's worse than a couple of the battleships, too.
I think it's actually worse than all the battleships except GK.
Sorry,
GK
Ken,
is
go
about
ahead.
the same.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, one of the best things about Stalingrad in ranked, though, is its fire on DDs. So if you can teamwork with a DD and keep a DD lit, they're going to go down pretty quick to your AP.
Which is pretty much standard for any cruiser in this ranked, right? So just something to think about for people that are listening and wondering how to play Stalingrad, or more importantly, how to defeat Stalingrads. Just because they have one doesn't mean that's the end of it.
Ship hull-wise, the Stalingrad shares a lot of weaknesses and strengths with Moskva. So Moskva, if you sit broadside in it, you're dead. Same thing with Stalingrad. And you also have the tip of the bow, which is 25 millimeters, that you can actually, if you get close enough, you can actually exploit that.
Mm-hmm.
Superstructure is also fairly big, so you can also try and shoot into the superstructure for consistent pen damage. And then finally, you can just keep torpedoing because Stalingrad doesn't have any hydro.
Yep, that's a big weakness that Moskva has, an advantage over, is that hydro. The other thing to keep in mind, too, is that the Stalingrad burns for 45 seconds by default on fire. So fires are much more impactful on a Stalingrad than on a Moskva.
Mm-hmm. It's all of these problems that, as far as I can tell, I don't think our clan is going to be using Stalingrad to replace Moskva. It's
Right.
just not as good as Moskva in Moskva's role.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to have potentially a different niche role that some people, like some clans with enough of them in their rosters, might try. But I don't think it's a Moskva replacement.
Although I want to see if Holland replaces their 5 Moskvas with 5 Stalingrads.
I think it'll just replace like one.
I think we
No.
all want to see what they do.
So the other thing about dealing with Stalingrad is you can't show as much side as you would to other cruisers. This is actually the bigger problem. It's not killing the Stalingrad. I feel like the Stalingrad dies eventually. The problem is that a lot of people die to it first.
Right. Because they make the mistake, like you said, of not angling enough. In other words, showing a little bit of side, trying to get that rear turret out or something like that.
Yeah, if you show the wrong angle to a Stalingrad, you're going to take a Citadel almost regardless of what ship you're in, because it has battleship-like penetration, but it doesn't have battleship-like overmatch. So I've seen Yamatos who are just ignore me at 20 kilometers because, it's like, yeah, there's a cruiser over there, whatever, and then you get Citadel. Which is, really, there's no other cruiser you have to worry about that from, right? So Stalingrad does do that. It also has slightly enhanced auto-bounce angles, so you can take hits at angles that you would have been safe in other cruisers. You want to think of it a little bit like a Des Moines in that sense. But once it is angled, its options are really limited.
Pretty much. It's a lot better in randoms just because there's a lot more targets that will willingly give you enough angle. But in ranked, where people tend to at least keep track of ships more often, it's a bit harder.
Yeah, and it's not unique, right? In the sense that, people are wondering if it'll affect the clan battles meta, because clan battles, you can only have one battleship currently. But in ranked, I get all these ranked games, there's like 4 battleships per team, so it's not any different than a battleship in that sense.
Battleship with radar.
Yeah, but you still have like a 2-kilometer spotting on it before you have to worry about the radar.
Well, at least Wild Wings is using it to cover C and most of A and B, so there are certain spots Stalingrad can run into.
Yep, and we just
That
saw
Shima's gonna go for it.
we just saw the Shima go down, or take down the other Stalingrad, doing exactly what we were just saying. It's such a static thing. You have to, just kind of flank around it, and like you guys were saying, you have to just be patient and not rush in to try to kill something.
If you know what you're doing, Stalingrad is actually not that much of a threat.
Right. It's just people have to learn how to counter them, and I think ranked in a few weeks is going to look very different from ranked right now.
Well, ranked right now is not covered with Stalingrads. Very few people are actually even own them, but not a lot of people, even who own them, are still playing them.
Right.
I think they just wanted to get it out of their system.
So one of the topics for discussion I was going to bring up, and we talked about Stalingrad, so let's talk about some of the other ships that we see in ranked. What's working for you guys? What's not working for you guys?
What is with the Haragumo swarm? Like, what is about that ship that everybody wants to play it right now? Because I didn't even think it was going to be any good, and it doesn't seem to be that great.
It rivals Conqueror in terms of star saving.
Is that seriously what people are doing with it?
The Haragumo is
it's a selling
absurd
point.
DPS in smoke, so yeah, you just farm damage and you get your star, or you save it.
It's the Flamu effect.
Well, could be also that. Certain people say it's a great ship, it's broken, stupid OP, so people just parrot it and run the build and, you know, expect to do good things.
Yeah. I was saying that, and I still maintain by that I think it's probably one of the strongest in between the tier 10 destroyers at the moment. Especially if you compare it to other gunboats like the Grozavoy or the Kabarovs.
And why do you
It's
say
got
that?
everything. It's got the concealment, it's got a torp range, it's got more HP, it's got a good smoke, it's got a better range. I think you can do whatever the Cab can at a distance better than the Cab can, or the Grozavoy can. Grozavoy is still even stronger than the Cab too, in my opinion. Cab is the weakest at the moment.
Yeah, Cobb just can't do anything destroyer specific, but Haragumo with its 6.2 concealment actually can do destroyer stuff, even if it's not very good at it.
Right, it's very flexible.
Okay, so that's the destroyer realm. What about cruiser-wise? What works, what doesn't?
I think Henry is very strong at the moment.
Why?
Moskva.
Yeah,
Henry,
that Rune Node booster helped it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
the
there isn't
reload
more
booster.
boosters in Q.
I think they're all stuck in the queue I'm in, because I get games with like 4 roosters pretty regularly.
Ah,
Yeah, I see at least one booster every game.
Other than that, I've been seeing kind of a normal spread of all the other ships. The only one cruiser I've seen very little of is Moskva.
I've seen quite a few Moskvas. I think Hindenburg is the one that I've seen very few of.
I've seen a good number of Hindenburgs.
My least number of ship I've seen is a Minotaur.
Surprisingly, I've seen a decent number of Minotaurs too, and I'm always happy when I see them because that thing is covered in 19mm plating and I overmatch the whole ship.
Yeah. In the games I've seen Minotaurs, they haven't really done much. Just get shot at and die.
Our victory is in sight.
And what about battleships, guys?
That I don't know much about, so I wouldn't say much.
They're kind of all the same.
Why?
From the outside perspective, I'd say Yamato is pretty strong. Got that accuracy with the legendary mod.
Yeah, I've kind of seen every battleship do okay. Ken, what you got?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm partial to Montana just because I prefer the US BBs, but I've seen quite a bit of Republics actually. They seem to do okay.
Yeah, Republic seems to be also because of its forgot the word in English. Maneuverability, I guess. Its nimbleness. You can get from point A to point B really fast. You can be very flexible in that.
Yeah, it's good at relocating, right, to the other flank or something if needed.
Yeah.
All right. Wings fan, nice job on your game, by the way. If you guys have been watching how he's been very cautious and not jumping forward and getting, you know, focused and stuff. Edge, go ahead. What were you going to say, sir?
I was gonna say it's the Worcester Stalingrad standoff.
There's also a DV somewhere around there.
Very true. Good point. And you're out of radar. All right, let's move into the next question that I had for you guys, and that's, are you guys having any problems with ranked? Anything that's not been working well for you?
Balling and passive teammates have been the bane of my season.
Very conservative BBs. I would find myself especially with the Moscow, the one tanking on the front, trying to motivate the BBs to go ahead.
Yeah, especially in games with multiple battleships, when they all group together, your team is pretty doomed.
Yeah.
I've had the similar experience trying to ask them to split, and they're like, "Why?" And what I hate so much is like when we start to lose, that just reinforces their decision, you know, as opposed to saying, "Oh, we lost because we didn't have a good shot, a good angle on whatever ship," you know.
Right.
Oh, too much side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fun fact, Wooster can just barely wiggle, and I think enough to get all 4 guns on you, while retaining auto bounce on the main belt. But if he does it, and you're close enough and you have like a super good aim, you can put it through the transom stern for citadels.